We feel so confined by our budget. But the truth is that you can do a lot with very little in your space. Hi, welcome to the House of Valentina. I'm Valentina, and today we have mind-blowing decorating tips that are not only going to transform your IKEA pieces, they're going to transform your entire home. So if that sounds like something that you are excited about, make sure you hit subscribe because we do not want you to miss out on any of the upcoming content. But also remember, you can look back. We've got an IKEA playlist, an interior design playlist, and a stylist playlist, and room makeovers too. We just love to be able to bring this content to you. So if you hit subscribe, you won't miss out on the upcoming content, but you also can check back on our previous content and spend some time just binging and getting all stocked up on ideas. So thank you so much for stopping by. We're so excited. Let's jump into mind-blowing decorating tips. Tip number one today is to use metallics. Because my husband and I lived in Scandinavia for 6 years, we really got to know the culture, the way that Scandinavians tend to think about their interiors, and they really love a very natural, nature-infused interior, which is really, really great. It's really beautiful. But if you are looking for something that's maybe a little bit more elevated, something that has a sort of elegant sophistication to it, IKEA isn't always the best source for those things. It's not that they don't have anything. They do have some things that do have metallics on them, and you may want to grab those pieces, but you can also take the pieces that you have and add metallics to the pieces. So whether that is adding door handles that are in a brass color, something that has brass and bone, you can really jazz these pieces up a lot by simply infusing door handles, drawer pulls, also just decorating with things that have a metallic finish to them. So maybe something that has a metallic finish to it. I'll leave a link. I feel like I need to leave links below for all these things because we just need to have a shopping list for you so you can just kind of see. I'll just pop up some pictures for you of things that I would look for. I love the little brass knots, some of the little sea urchin style little metallic art pieces. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? These are the kind of things that when you add those to a natural looking piece, something that maybe is more clean line, which is what you're finding at IKEA, it'll really transform those pieces into something that will feel more chic and sophisticated and a little bit more designer. One of my favorite things to do with IKEA is to shop in their bedding department. The thing is that IKEA, again, it's based off of minimalism. That's kind of the Scandinavian vibe. It's minimalism, nature. They do try to include everybody in their store, but sometimes the styling that they do isn't always geared towards a very luxurious designer kind of feel. But that doesn't mean that you can't take what they have and create that look. It's just you may have to think a little bit outside the box. So when we are decorating our homes, we like to really layer up the bed. And I was just laughing because one of my friends, he let us do a little tour of his home. And you can actually see it on the channel. It was one of the first one we posted several years ago. And when I went to see his house originally, he had one pillow on his bed, just literally one bed pillow. And I was like, don't you have more pillows? And he's like, no, I'm just one person. I just need one pillow. And I was like, oh, okay. We typically would layer up the bed with lots and lots of pillows. And he's like, no, this is all I need and I'm good. So that's kind of a Scandinavian mindset, is that they really just want to have what they really need. They're not really focused necessarily on really trying to give you a luxurious, that sort of designer look that's really layered and has lots of materials in it. Well, they sell those things at the store, which is really great. So you can take the principle that you're really wanting and you can infuse infuse it into your own bed. So shop the bedding department, look for the bedding that has a beautiful sateen finish. I really love their sheets, and they have some really great duvets. They have all kinds of pillows as well in the throw pillow section. So definitely check out the throw pillow section and use those for your bed because you can really layer it up. Also add an extra duvet to your bed. You can have more than one duvet on your bed. They have different degrees of duvet inserts. So if you tend to sleep hot, you could do 2 of the really cool ones. They're set for, I think they're set the way that I'm trying to think of how they've got them. They say that they are for cold weather. So you're looking for the warm weather duvet. But you could do 2 of the warm weather duvets and layer up the bed with those, and it'll just give you more layers. It gives you that really lush, luxurious kind of feel. It really can be in any style. So if you want something that's a little bit more modern or you want something that's a little bit more classic, the materials that you choose and how many layers you put on will kind of help you build that feeling that you're really wanting to achieve in your space. And of course, don't forget, a blanket across all those layers just kind of finishes it off. It'll really give you a beautiful feel to your entire bed. It's one of those, it'll give you that bed that you're like, I want to run and jump into this thing. You just snuggle down into, and it feels really luxurious, and you can do it all from IKEA. Okay, number 3 is to use better or more inserts. So while we're talking about the bed, this applies to the bed pillows and also to maybe sofa pillows, chairs, anywhere you're going to put a pillow. What I have found is that a lot of times we understuff our pillows. So IKEA does offer several inserts that you can use, and I like the down feel, but I know that we're starting to move away from that down, and they're starting to give us more alternative options, which are really, really great. But what you really want to make sure is that your pillow can be molded to the shape that you really want, and you want to make sure that it's really, really full. So sometimes what I do is that I actually double stuff my pillowcases. So if you have a bed pillow and maybe it's not very thick, I actually sometimes will put 2 pillow inserts inside of it, and it'll really fill it out and give it that luxurious designer kind of look. And I do the exact same thing on the couch pillows, and it really fills them out. It gives them that weight and that sort of fluffy, really high-end look that you're really wanting to achieve, and it's gorgeous, and it doesn't really cost you a whole lot extra. My next tip is to dress up your walls. I think it's really easy to slip into the trap that when we are working on a really tight budget, we tend to think small for our spaces. We don't think about all the possibilities of the space because we feel so confined by our budget. But the truth is that you can do a lot with very little in your space. So if you take, let's say, an IKEA bed, I really love their upholstered beds that they have. So you could take that upholstered bed and put it on a plain wall and just let it be. And that could be really beautiful. It's going to be very minimal. But if you start adding layers to that, maybe you're going to add a richer paint color to the wall. What if you added some removable wallpaper? If you're in an apartment and you're not able to paint or put up wallpaper, you could also actually make your own wallpaper. You can put wallpaper up. So often we confine ourselves to thinking too small on our spaces, and we forget that the walls in the room itself can really carry the weight of a design, and it can really transform some of the more simple pieces that we do have. Simpler pieces. Yeah. Like, is it simple or simpler? You guys know what I mean. It can really make your space extra special, and it can really take your design a lot more over the top and give you that kind of designer look that you sometimes end up craving. And there's some, like, a lot of times it feels like there's something missing, and it's because you just have forgotten that the walls are one of your biggest spaces that you really need to address, and it can really transform your space. One of the very first pieces that we ever purchased from IKEA was a matching table and chair set. And that is the only time that we have ever done that. And it was great because I think at the time it was like $99 and it was a table with 4 chairs. And it worked for a while until we became a family of 5 and we were in Morocco. We ended up selling it and we've never done that again because we realized really quickly that even though it was convenient to buy it in a set, we didn't really like that matchy look. And if I had kept it, I had talked about painting the table so that it wouldn't look so matchy. So even if you do have a matching set, you can get creative and change things up, whether you paint it, whether you apply fabric to it. If it's a sofa and chair set, you can change up the cushions. You have ways of dealing with your sets that can really break them up to help them feel more interesting. But if you can avoid buying things that are too matchy in the beginning, then it'll really help you out. So think about instead buying a wood table and maybe upholstered chairs, and that'll kind of mix up your materials a little bit. I don't think it's the worst thing to have 2 matching sofas, but matching sofas and matching chairs, sometimes it can start to feel a little bit a little bit underdone. So you could definitely do a beautiful fabric sofa and maybe leather chairs or vice versa. You could also do all matching pieces and then really mix up your cushions. And that'll help you just to feel like it's not all a sea of one thing. And it'll really give you that layered look that designers are always trying to achieve in their spaces. My next tip is that you can paint your windows and your doors. Sometimes we forget, just like the walls, we forget about the structure of the space around us. So in my room back here, this actually leads to my kitchen. So I know a lot of you that are regulars already know that, but a lot of times when we aren't filming, those doors are open. And I decided to go ahead and paint them out because it added this sort of kind of seamless look for this space. So that's one little trick that you can do, but you could also paint your doors a completely different color. I've done that myself in my bathroom. You can paint your windows. You could get creative. You could put leather on your doors, nail head, upholster them completely. You have so many things that you can do. It's limitless. Sometimes we get so focused on trying to hack the IKEA pieces that we forget that we can actually jazz up the space that we're putting them in and completely transform the space that we put that IKEA piece in. And we stop seeing that IKEA piece and we start seeing the room. And that IKEA piece, it really just becomes a secondary thing. And you're really not even seeing it. You're not really focused on it. And it can really, really transform your space. One of the things that I always have done from the beginning when I started to shop at IKEA was that I like to purchase the pieces from IKEA that could be painted. When you have one of their high lacquered pieces, you really can't paint those pieces. You really are somewhat limited. You can add beautiful handles to them. You can stack them. You can do a lot of things with them. But if you want to transform the piece itself, IKEA actually offers some really nice wood pieces that you can paint. And I, in the past, have been painting them with a more natural look. And now that I find myself moving more towards this sort of luxurious, modern kind of feel, I find myself gravitating actually to a higher lacquer. You can lacquer them. You can do a high gloss. You can jazz up those handles with something, again, like those metallics. And you've completely transformed your IKEA piece just by simply having a piece that was easy to paint. So I would try to look and see what they offer that is easy to paint and see if that will fit into your design. And then if it does, it's perfect because it's a lot easier to work with. And I personally avoid sanding. You guys may have seen the video that I posted a long time ago about how to paint your pieces without sanding. And that's because I hate sanding furniture. So that's why I tend to try to buy the things that can be painted. Even this piece right here, this desk, this is one of their tabletops and it cannot easily be painted, honestly. And it's starting to chip. It's great for a temporary piece, but as a long-term piece, it's really not going to stand the test of time. Whereas I have other pieces that are wood and I'm able to paint them over and over and I can really get my use out of it. I might have to get creative on this tabletop and do something completely different. But it is nice when you can at least have the option to paint your pieces. So I would look at what they have and see if it fits into your design and see if you can make something like that really work to give you that designer look while still remaining on a budget. One of the things that I like to do in general as a designer is that I really like to use pieces for purposes that they were not stated. So what I'll do a lot of times is if I'm looking for a bedside table, I'm not going to only look at nightstands. I'm going to look at side tables. I'm going to look in the living room section. I'm going to look in the dining room section, because a lot of times you might have more space than one of the really small nightstands that they sell at IKEA. Maybe you could be looking at the big buffet pieces or a side table that they sell in the living room section. Maybe you might even custom design something from the kitchen cabinet section. Your options are really limitless. And so what you need to do is think through, what do you actually need? What is the height of your bed? And how wide do you have? Or maybe you'll be doubling up on your nightstands. You maybe need two to really give you the width that you need. Or maybe you can be stacking things on top of each other. Think through all the options. As a designer, I come up with the overall design itself. And a lot of times I don't even think about the budget first, honestly, because I really want to come up with that free thought of the space itself. What would I ideally have there? I would have a nice large piece that's 48 inches wide instead of a 24-inch piece. And then I might start to work my way backwards. Okay, I need something that's black. I want this kind of handle. I want this kind of finish. Can I find this somewhere at IKEA? Can I create something from IKEA to get this kind of look? Because that way you're not limited by your budget. You're really thinking of the design first and then working your way backwards. So definitely shop around the other sections of the store and get creative to create the full design of what you have lingering in your mind. And that way you can create something that's really thoughtful and really thought through, because that's what we do as designers. That's really our job, is to create something that really just fills that space and really makes it feel magical and special. And you can't do that when you're all like, I can go to the nightstand section and pick from these 6. So don't be too limited. Think outside the box. Another thing that I do as a designer is I really like to focus on the details. And a lot of times when something is mass produced, it doesn't come with a lot of detail. So I think the details are really what matters. It's this small knurled handle on something that really just the way that tactile feeling when you touch it. It's maybe a little bit of brass or nickel around a clock that just makes it feel like something really special. I like to look at the cushions and have some piping around the edges, or have no piping because I'm looking for something that I want more sleek. The devil really is in the details. I don't know, is that really a nice expression? It seems so not nice. I don't know. But you guys know what I mean. It really is about the details and really thinking through the little things that make something really, really come alive. So if you can look at the pieces that they have IKEA and look for some of the detail work, find the pieces that have more detail. And I'll try to pop up some things that I think will work for that. But I also think that you can add the details as well. And I think that's where you can get into a lot of fun when you get on Pinterest and you start seeing people hacking things. It's like, oh, they really added detail. What if I want a Greek key? What if I want a diagonal look to my wood? What if I want something that's perforated? There's so many details that you can add, and it's really about your style and your design and what you envision for the space. So can you add those details, or can you take a simple piece and add details in all of the accessories, through your cushions, through the artwork, through everything that you're putting into the space to really overload the space with just those fine details that make it something really, really special. The camera battery just died. So hopefully hopefully we've got everything. And my final tip for today is to make sure that you really think about adding some drama, some punch, some life into your space. So often we're trying to play it so safe. And you guys know I love to buy classic pieces for my rooms, but I don't want to only buy pieces that are all the same color or have the same exact sheen or that are all the same exact style. As a designer, I really like to create spaces that have something special, that spark, that pop. So it really just, that whole space comes to life, and it really has nothing to do with style. For me personally, of course, I love to be able to put a white IKEA sofa in a black room because you can just play with the contrast and the drama. You can add patterned pillows to that sofa and really just give it some new life. You can choose the pattern pieces that they sell at IKEA or add a dramatic piece of artwork to what would otherwise be a fairly safe feeling kind of room. You can use their rugs. That's one of the things that we talked about in the last video, was how to layer up their rugs and how to get this really great layered look. Well, don't forget that you have all these tools at your disposal to create rooms that just have something that's really special going on with them. So whether it's paint, whether it's the details that you're adding, whether it's the books that you're putting in, all these kinds of things can really create a full and dramatic look, something that just pops, something that just feels special. And it really doesn't have anything to do with your style. It really just has to do with really minding the details of your space and giving yourself something really great to look at and playing things against each other. And I did an entire video on that. If you want to go ahead and look at that one as well. It's all about how to not create a boring home. You can apply all those rules to your IKEA pieces. It's all about trying to create something that just, it wows you. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to come with blinking lights to wow you. It really is about understanding your style. That's what I do as a designer. I need to understand my clients. I need to understand what they want. And I need to create a space that just makes them feel so happy when they walk into it. And you can do that even when you are designing it for yourself. I know we say all the time it's a DIY, right? It's how DIY stands for do it. So DIY stands for do it yourself, but we can also DIY our spaces by decorating it yourself and really understanding your style, really understanding those contrasts and adding something that really just sparks that sort of interest in the space can so quickly transform basic IKEA pieces into something that completely just blows your mind. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. I hope that you have found some tips that are super useful for you. I always enjoy when you guys stop by, and it's just always such a treat. It feels like we get to hang out together and talk about the subject that I just absolutely love. So make sure you hit subscribe, check out the IKEA playlist. We'll have everything linked down below. And oh, geez, son. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Hi. Did you go to swim? Your hair is all wet.
Yeah.
Change?
Yeah.
Yeah. You having a good time? Good summer?
Just chilling.
Just
Having
chilling?
fun. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you already tell them to click the bell icon so they know when you post a video?
I didn't. I forgot to tell them.
Make sure you click the bell icon so every time that we post a video, you get notified so then you can get straight to it. And back to you.
Thanks, baby. Are you going to go get a snack?
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Bye. Well, there you have it. So we hope that you will hit that bell notification so that you get notified when we have new content coming out. Hit subscribe, check out our playlist down below, and we hope that you will find them mind-blowing and totally binge-worthy. So thank you again for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.